All right, welcome back to the podcast. We are about 2 weeks away from Christmas. How is your Christmas shopping coming? I know mine's not there yet, but I'm going to work on that this weekend. Welcome back to the podcast. 14 weeks of the National Football League season are in the books. We now have the final 12 of the college football playoff. No better person to break it all down with than our resident coach, Coach Anthony Blevins out in Dallas. He world champion with the Birmingham Stallions, longtime NFL assistant, and I know he will be back in the game here at any moment. Welcome back, Coach.
Thanks for having me, man. It's good to be back.
How's your Christmas shopping coming?
I'm probably a little bit better than you. I'm probably about halfway done. You know what I mean?
That
But
boy, that
there's still
boy.
still a long ways to go, man. Waiting on FedEx and Amazon to get everything here. So,
That's right.
but for the most part, I'm kind of done.
What's the missus like? Is she a jewelry girl? Is she a clothes girl? Or is she a vacation girl?
She's all of it actually, but we just did a list and you kind of pick from a list. So
There
it
you
makes it
go.
kind of easy. You don't have to guess. Like so. So
There
we,
you
we got
go.
the Christmas thing, the Christmas gifts figured out.
Happy mama, happy life, right?
Absolutely.
All right, before we get to the college football playoff, give me a thought or two about this all the speculation. Bill Belichick possibly going back to college football, potentially North Carolina's the chatter here. Probably going to have a decision here in the next few days. Do you think he's truly interested in the college game, or do you think he's trying to draw up some potential interest maybe for another NFL job, showing that he's hireable?
Like to be honest with you, I think he's trying to show he's hireable. I don't see a 72-year-old Super Bowl winning head coach wanting to go to college right now with the NIL and all that. And I get it's pro football. That's what's seeping into college. I get all of that. But who wants to be on the road? Who wants to grind? Who wants to do the recruiting, make the phone calls late at night, writing letters to recruits, doing all the summer camps, all that type of stuff? He doesn't want to do that. He wants to set it up for his son Steven to take over when he's gone. And he'll be a CEO type of head coach where he just kind of watches over and kind of the godfather of everything. Is he a good fit? I don't know if he's a good fit or not, but if I'm going to hire a 72-year-old head coach from New England, why not keep Mac Brown? They're the same. They're the same guys. One has a better college resume. Obviously, what Bill Belichick has done, not to discredit him in any type of way,
Sure.
but
It's a
like you're
different
72
game.
years old now.
It's a
Go
different
enjoy
game.
your boat, enjoy your time away. Enjoy your family. Don't get back in this rat race. This is a young man's game. So I would love to see somebody else get the job, but I can see Bill Belichick getting the job and being able to kind of, I guess, ride off in the sunset, if you will.
And the other part of this equation is he's only 27 wins away from passing Shula. If he takes a college job, he ain't passing Shula, where he'll never admit it publicly, but you know deep down he wants to pass down Shula for the all-time win record.
Yeah, anytime you're in this business, you're in it to compete. You're competitive. So why not? You're that close. You need a couple seasons, maybe 3 seasons. Why not try to go do that at an NFL team as opposed to doing it in college and starting all over and learning the new landscape of things? Yeah, I don't understand it, but I'm not 72. I'm not Bill Belichick. I'm not 6 Super Bowls in. So, I wish him all the best, to be honest with you.
Bill's trying to live his best life in other facets of his life
Yeah,
with
you
his
better be
with
careful.
some of the rumored companion that he has.
Yeah. Yeah, the,
um,
the young rumored companion.
yes, yes.
I'll say it for you.
All right, one more thought give me a thought on the college football. Are you shocked that the NCAA has not changed the portal, where the portal is open now when there's still college football games and bowl games going on?
Yeah, something has to change with that. I don't like players being able to opt out of bowl games. This is still part of the season. The bowl games back when we played, and again, granted, we're dinosaurs now, but you wanted to go to a bowl game. It was reward for what you did all season. Now it's just the end of the season when the November 30th hit. You play the last game right after Thanksgiving. That's the end of the season for most of these guys, unless you're in the college football playoff. But like, I really don't like it. Finish the season out, open the portal after the bowl games or whatever, and then go from there. I really don't like the way it's set up right now, to be honest with you. There's a lot of things that need to be improved, and there's ways to do it,
To me,
but you got
that's
to sit down, you
easy.
got to think about it, and put some rules in place.
Just push back the date a couple of
Yeah,
weeks, a month,
yeah,
first week
push
of
it back to
January or
January
something.
1st. Yeah, that's when all the bowl games are done.
Yeah,
You can open it up January 9th,
right.
and be good. So yeah, I just don't like the way it's set up, the transfer portal, the way it's set
Wow.
up right now. I think it was done without any forethought about how players are going to react to it.
Crazy. That just blows my mind. All right, let's get to the college football rankings. Obviously, we had some couple dramatic championship games. Obviously, the ACC was the big one with Clemson walking off against SMU to get into the playoff. All the speculation going into Sunday was SMU going to survive, or was Alabama going to get bumped? SMU survives a great second half. They got to give them credit. They were getting beat. They were getting manhandled in the first half, and they played really well in the second half. Tied the game. Clemson ended up kicking a field goal in the last play of the game to win. Arizona State wins. Boise takes care of business. Georgia. I was in Dallas over the weekend. Georgia beats Texas in Atlanta. I was around a bunch of Longhorn fans for that game Saturday, and they weren't happy. And then Oregon obviously wraps it up on Saturday night. Give me a thought about SMU in, Bama out.
Well, let's start with Bama. Everybody, I'm from Birmingham, obviously, as you know, so I hear all of it, strength of schedule, all of that. I don't want to hear it. Bama, you lost to a 6-6 Vandy team. You lost to a 6-6 Oklahoma team. You do not deserve to be in the college football playoff. Your only quality loss was to Tennessee. SMU, on the other hand, they lost. They lost to BYU. At that time, BYU was undefeated, ranked, uh,
Yep.
playing for the
Good
conference
team. They're
title
a
or
good
in the
team.
mix for the
BYU's
conference title.
good.
Yeah, BYU's a really good football team, and then they lose in the conference championship game on a walk-off field goal to Clemson. Like, the two resumes do not compare. Like, they're in the Big 12 or in the ACC. SMU is. Alabama's in the SEC. I get it. They played Florida State. It's not their fault Florida State is having an off year,
Right.
but they've got quality wins and they took care of business. As a coach, as a player, all you can do is take care of business, and that's winning on the field, and that's what they did. Alabama did not do that when they had an opportunity to. Even if they lose to Vandy and they beat Oklahoma late in the year, Alabama's probably in.
Right.
So
And they didn't just lose to
I'm
Oklahoma. They got beat by 3 touchdowns to Oklahoma.
yeah, yeah. It wasn't a walk off field goal. It wasn't close. Like, I mean, they got physically dominated against Oklahoma, so they do not deserve to be in a college football playoff.
And I'll say this about SMU: they showed you the heart and the soul of their team getting beat as bad as Clemson was all over them that first quarter and a half, that first
Yeah,
half, and for them to come back and slowly get back in the game and played better, that showed me something when they knew they had to do that. It's not like it was a middle of October kind of game. They had to do it at that moment, and they did it.
yeah. SMU doesn't get the credit they deserve. They're a good football team. They are a really good football team. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the playoffs. Um, but they're a good football team. I think they can potentially make some noise in the college football playoff.
All right, what'd you think about Boise? I mean, Boise and Arizona State getting the bye, and then obviously SMU, or not SMU, Clemson not getting the bye. Which of those three teams did you think should have been the team that had to play the first weekend?
Well, obviously, you will talk about. We'll go back to strength of schedule. Boise being in the Mountain West, and probably not the most quality wins all year long, but they took care of business. Now they had a 3 point loss to Oregon early in the
Oregon,
year,
right? And
and
they
they
were
had an
winning that
opportunity
game
to
most of
tie
the
that
game.
game and
Yeah,
and and win that game. So, like, I think Boise State, they're underrated. They don't get the credit they deserve. They play a good physical style of football. Ashton Genty, Heisman finalist,
yep.
he's going to be in New York. Like, they play a good brand of football. They run the ball really well, and when you run the ball really well, that tells me you're really good up front. You're good in the O line. That guys can block. They can get after you. So I'm really looking forward to seeing their matchup in when they play.
So Boise's going to play the winner of Penn State SMU. So and we'll get to that here in a second. But yeah, Arizona State, a team picked 16th in the Big 12 preseason. That is almost impossible to believe They win the Big 12. They dominate Iowa State. That running back, Scattaboo, kind of has come out of nowhere. That whole program has come out of nowhere this year. Give me a thought or two about Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State.
Well, Kenny's done a phenomenal job taking that program from where it was to where it is now, winning the conference, coach of the year. He's done an excellent job. You got to take your hat off to him. Cam Scattaboo is the absolute heart of that football team. How he goes is how they go. And I love his running style. I love how he plays the game. I mean, he's a physical back. He'll have a nice future in the NFL. I don't know if he'll be a superstar in the NFL, but I think he'll have a nice future
Yep.
between being a situational back and a special teams player.
Yep.
I look forward to seeing how he grows and progresses on the next level.
Let's go to the Georgia Texas game. Obviously, an area you know well with being down in Dallas and Texas. You know, you got the injury now to Carson Beck. So how does that play into Georgia? And are you just surprised that Quinn Ewers has just not been able to get over the hump here? I mean, had every opportunity in the game Saturday to put Georgia away, and he just couldn't do it. Just give me a thought or two about. And is there any chance in the world Steve Sarkisian goes to Arch Manning?
I don't think he goes to Arch Manning. I do think Arch Manning plays though, especially now. Quinn struggling a little bit, kind of give him a little bit, take a little bit off his plate. But I expect Quinn to bounce back. I really do expect him to bounce back. I expect him to have a really good game against Clemson. And I'm looking. That's my out of the first round games. That's the game I'm looking forward to seeing the most. Is that game? I think that's going to be a phenomenal game. I'm truly excited about seeing Texas and Clemson. Like I'll be there. I'll have a popcorn on the couch. I'll be ready.
No, that's gonna be good. And then obviously in the Big Ten, we go to Oregon. Oregon takes care of business up in the Big Ten, beating Penn State. Again, the team that could have beat them was Boise in week one of the year. Boise had them on the ropes up in Eugene early in that year. To me, they seem like they're pretty well rounded. Gabriel's a really good college quarterback. They got a really good offense. They're good on defense, not great. What do you see in Oregon?
I think Oregon. I'm interested about Oregon is to see can they continue their dominance. I don't think the Big Ten is as potent as it has been. Michigan's down this year. Indiana's up there, but Indiana really hasn't played the blue bloods of the conference.
Right.
So I'm really interested to see how they stack up against competition the next couple of weeks. But I do think they have a really good football team. They play a physical style of football. I think they can be a team to watch, but also I think they're a team that can be upset too.
What's going to be interesting in these playoff games next week is the element of weather. You got game at Ohio State, potentially really cold, game at Notre Dame, a game at Penn State, and then you got a game at Texas. Texas weather shouldn't be bad, but the other three games, you got a significant opportunity for cold weather. You got SMU and Tennessee that are southern teams, warm weather teams, and then you have just so happened the all Indiana matchup, Notre Dame and Indiana. Not a basketball game. This is a football game here. Just give me your thought about the weather. And again, I know weather is an issue. Weather this time of year, weather will be an issue.
Yeah, I don't think weather will be an issue versus Notre Dame and Indiana. They're used to it. They play up there. They practice in it. I don't think it'll factor in that much unless it's snow, rain, or something like that. Tennessee at Ohio State, SMU at Penn State. That's where it can affect. I didn't think SMU played really well in the first half because of the weather.
Right.
So I mean, drop balls, drop passes, and when you play in the cold, the ball's a little bit harder. It's slicker. So when you don't practice in it, you don't get the feel of it, how the ball changes due to the cold weather. And Tennessee, fast-paced offense, I think it can affect them in some ways too as well. So
you can make an argument that Tennessee, Ohio State, Oregon part of the bracket is brutal because you could make an argument any one of those three teams could win the national championship because the winner of Ohio State, Tennessee plays Oregon in the quarterfinals, and that is a rough road to hoe for the number one overall seed.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping Ohio State beats Tennessee because I love to see a rematch of Ohio State Oregon. That was one of the more entertaining games.
1 point game, 1 point
game late. Ohio State's winning. Don't manage the clock well. Time runs out. Game's over. So I think that could be a good matchup, but also Tennessee. Tennessee, if they win, I don't think that's a bad matchup either. I think
Right.
Tennessee speed versus Oregon. I think it could be a really good matchup. I really, I think the committee, you know, they talk about the strength of schedule, all that. We already talked about it, but I think they got it right. I think they got the best 12 teams in the country, and letting them play it out to see who's the best in the country. I think this is a phenomenal deal. I think it's good for college football, just in sports in general.
All right, give me a pick. Ohio State, Tennessee. Who you got
I'm
in
gonna take Tennessee.
Columbus?
I'm gonna take Tennessee.
I'm with you. I think
I'm,
the sleeper team to win it all is Tennessee. Indiana, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Okay, I like them. And again, winner of that game is going to play Georgia. And we don't know the status of Carson Beck with the elbow, and you know that the way he got hit, that elbow injury, that's not it. That could be a lingering issue here. So that is a wait and see what the situation is. And the backup quarterback came in and played good for a series, and then he kind
Right.
of reverted back to being a young backup quarterback. So we'll see how that affects Georgia's game plan and how they go about things there in the quarterfinal. All right, let's go to Happy Valley. Penn State, SMU from your neck of the woods.
Uh, this is probably the closest one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take SMU.
I
Going
think
with
so.
the
Yep.
going with the local team.
That Kevin Jennings is a good player. That quarterback is an underrated guy, right?
Yeah, he's really once he came in, he's really changed their season around. They've really played good. Like they've played lights out on offense all year long since he's been the starting quarterback.
And you saw what speed and skill did to Penn State in the Big Ten title game. Oregon scored pretty much at will and then up and down the field, and that's the thing you worry about with Penn State is can they keep up with the athletes? And SMU has a lot of skill players that can move and run and all that good stuff. All right, last quarterfinal game again down in your region of the world in Austin, Texas, and Clemson.
I'm gonna go with Texas. I'm gonna keep it local. I'm gonna go with
Yep.
Texas. I think Texas bounces back. I think they bounce back in a really good way. I think Clemson defensively, they've not that they've struggled. They haven't played as well as they can at times. So I'm looking forward to Quinn Ewers having a better game this week than he did last week against
This
Georgia.
is a good draw for Texas because the winner of this game will play Arizona State, which people think is vulnerable, but good team, but vulnerable. So again, I think if you're in the bottom half of the bracket you got some opportunity here because again, Oregon, Ohio State, Tennessee, two of those three teams will be out by the end of the quarterfinals, and then then you have potentially a Texas Oregon semifinal game. So the bottom half of the bracket with Boise and Georgia and Notre Dame and Penn State and Indiana and SMU, there's some opening because there's a heavyweight matchups in the top half of that bracket.
Absolutely. Like it's
Yep.
gonna be fun. If you're a
Yeah,
football
yeah.
fan, this is gonna be a fun time.
All right, a couple more topics and I'll get you out of here. Back to Monday night in the NFL. We saw the special teams issue in Dallas, how that game ended with the block punt that turned into a play by the Dallas special teams guy. For a guy that's coached a lot of special teams, take me into the head of that kid. Did he just get startled that the ball was that close to him? Give me a thought about how that kind of play happens. Because I know you guys got calls and signals if the ball's blocked and it goes across the line of scrimmage. Bingo, bingo, get away kind of stuff. Just take us through how that play unfolded and how that mistake might have been made.
Be honest with you, I have no idea how it was made. Like he knows that's day one teaching. John Fossil's a phenomenal coach. Has been doing it for a long time. So I know John's covered that not only on day one, but day two, day 10, day
Day
20.
100.
Yeah. So that's been covered. Ball, block goes across the line. Peter, get away from it. Ball goes beyond the line of scrimmage, scoop and score. So, I don't know. Maybe he thought something. Maybe he thought he saw something, heard something that made him pick it up. Maybe it was just reaction because the ball hit kind of right in front of him. So maybe it was just a reactionary
Right.
deal where he tried to grab the ball. But I really don't know because that was a mistake that he knows better than. I know he knows better than that. And
And
that was a
isn't it
guy, Amani Aurier, we had up in New York for a little bit of time when I was there. So I know it's been covered, because
right?
I can vouch for it. It's been covered.
Talk about just stuff plays like that. I mean, you've been around this league a long time. It's just funny how plays like that tend to happen to teams that don't win. Whereas
Yeah.
the teams that make those kind of plays lose. And the teams that don't make those kind of plays or make the smart situational football, whether it's special teams, offense, defense. At this time of the year, the teams that make the most situational good decisions tend to be the ones that advance and get to the playoffs. Correct?
That's true. Like when you're a bad football team, bad things happen to you. Like it's I don't know how it is. It just does. And when you're a good football team, you find a way to win a games that you probably shouldn't have. Games that you haven't played well, you still find a way to win when you're a good football team. Because the NFL, most games are gonna come down to the last possession. Just like Monday night, it's gonna come down to the last score. Whether can you stop them in 2 minutes or can you score in 2 minutes? It's gonna come down to one of those situations typically. And but it happens to, like you said, it happens to good teams. Good teams find a way to win.
Kansas
Bad
City's
teams
won
find a way to lose.
15. Kansas City's won 15 straight one possession games.
Hmm.
There you go.
It's all situational football. It's how you practice. You practice it on situationally. You practice that way Wednesday. You practice that way Thursday. You practice that way Friday. You do more situations on Saturday. Then you play the game. So right now they're Kansas City. They're the best situational team in all of football. But they execute. They have good players that understand, that have been there in the system, that understand the situations as they come up in real time. Because as a coach, you're on the sideline. You can't give them everything during the
Yeah,
game.
you can't do it for them. You can't do it for them.
Yeah. So you have to practice that, put them in situations over and over and over again where it becomes rote memory and you just bam, it just clicks.
And the other thing that didn't remember, you got to remember everybody in the audience. Kansas City has just as many young players as every other team. It's not like they don't have rookies playing and they got young guys playing. So it's not like, well, this team has no. Every team in the league has first, second year guys that are playing special teams, playing on offense. So it's how you teach it, how you reinforce it. Just like you mentioned, just the it's the mentality of good teams. That's what good teams do. Is they make good plays.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to. Like sometimes the football guys shine down on you when you do things the right way, and they
Yep.
frown on you when you do things the wrong way. That's what it comes down to.
Last one, I'll get you out of here. We'll talk about the chatter that's now coming out of Philadelphia with AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts. The comments Brandon Graham makes that apparently they don't like each other very much.
Right.
AJ wants the ball. Obviously, the Philadelphia recipe for success, who've won 9 games in a row, by the way, is we're going to lean on the run. Barkley, Jalen Hurts. The passing game has not been great the last month or so, but they keep winning games. How do you diffuse if you're in that locker room? Obviously, guys have egos. Guys have receivers want the ball. Everybody wants the ball. How do you keep that? How do you keep that locker room in check?
Well, as a coach, you got to call those guys in. If it's out there publicly and say, guys, we have to play together. We have to do what's right for this team to win. If it's a day where we run for 300 yards, so be it. We run for 300 yards. If they got the box stat, we got to throw it for 300 yards. Everybody has to be on the same page. Egos, we all have egos, but you got to check your ego at the door. And I know that's a cliche that we all talk about, but it's true. If you want to win, there are some sacrifices that you have to make in order to win. And sometimes it's going to be personal production. You've got to, hey, I got to go block as a receiver today.
Right.
I know it. I've got to go block. Saquon's having a day. I got to go block for him. And if on the flip side of it, on the other side of it, they're stopping the run. Saquon's got to say, you know what? I'm not getting the ball today. I've got to be a weapon in a pass game. I've got to go block, pass protect. I've got to be a good teammate. That's what it comes down to. Being a good teammate, sacrificing personal success for team success. Because when you win together as a team, you'll get all the individual success out there. You'll get commercials. You'll get bonuses. You get more endorsements, and you win. Like there's no substitute for winning. Like you play this game, it's hard. A lot of hard work goes into it, but you do it to win. And the only way you do it is you win as a team. You have to win together, all for one for all. That's the way you win in the National Football League or in any league for that matter.
And the interesting part is both those. I mean, obviously AJ Brown's been paid, so he's got a huge deal. I mean, you haven't heard anything out of Jalen Hurts, so I think it's probably way more AJ Brown to Jalen Hurts. Get me the ball kind of deal. And Jalen's the kind of guy, he don't care. But if he
Yeah.
throws for 75 yards and they win, that's all that matters to. He's a winning kind of player, and that's the part you have to really admire about Jalen. He doesn't have to throw for 300 to feel like he's been part of. If he's got to hand off 30 times to Saquon, great. If he's got to throw it 30 times, great. That's what I like about Jalen. He's not the most talented guy, but boy, is he a great leader, it seems like.
No, I think he's phenomenal. I've seen him grow, being in the division, playing him twice, seen him grow from the time he was drafted till now. He's done a great job of developing, taking what's there, making the reads. We played him. It might have been his first, not first start, but first year truly playing. And I was like, this guy, he can't see it. He can't see it. He can't see the zones. And all we did was play zone all day. He threw like 3 or 4 picks that day.
Right.
And just to watch his growth and development, truly impressed with him and how he's worked through the growing pains of being playing a quarterback in the National Football League.
Well, Coach Blevins, great insight. We're gonna hold you. We're gonna put your picks in pencil. We won't put them in pen. We'll put your picks in pencil. So you like Tennessee, you like Notre Dame, you like SMU, and you like Texas. I think that's a pretty good there's a pretty good selection of picks there. College football playoff. We're getting to the home stretch of the National Football League. 4 weeks to go in the NFL season. There'll be some more wild turns and twists here in the next couple of weeks, and we will have you back right before the end of the regular season for sure and into the playoffs. Great work. Have a Merry Christmas. If we don't talk before then, we will see you down the road. Stay warm in Texas. I was in Texas. It was raining all day Saturday. It was cold yesterday. Come on, man. Give me some warm weather when I'm there.
Man, you brought all the cold weather with you. It was warm before you got here.
Man. No, we had a great time at the regional. We were at the Cowboys practice facility. It's a beautiful facility. If anybody ever gets a chance, they do tours. I mean, there's people touring all that place all day long. They have a great little entertainment district right there, a great little spot there in Frisco, Texas. Well, Coach, have a great week. Have a great holiday, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Hey, sounds good.